The most basic question about Pesach is, what's the big deal? What is it? 3,300 years ago, the Eibishter took us out of Egypt. Okay. You're still excited? Not only did Yetzias Mitzrayim happen 3,300 years ago, but last year you celebrated Pesach as if you came out of Mitzrayim. So last year you came out of Mitzrayim. And 2 years ago, when you celebrated Pesach, you came out of Mitzrayim. Well, come on, enough already. How many times can you get excited about the same thing? Nothing changed. We came out of Mitzrayim. It was exciting for a few times, but enough already. So what is the celebration of Yetzias Mitzrayim, coming out of slavery into freedom? So of course you can do the spiritual cheshbon. We're not talking about Mitzrayim in the physical sense of the particular location and the particular parei and the particular enslavement. We're talking about all kinds of enslavement. And even this year, after last Pesach, we got enslaved in some way to our habits, to our whatever, weaknesses, and now we want to come out of that Mitzrayim also. Okay. But what about Yetzias Mitzrayim? Which is what the whole Haggadah is focused on. It doesn't say your bad habits. It says hard work in the fields that we had to do in Mitzrayim. How come we haven't gotten over that yet? The simple fact is, we didn't come out of slavery into freedom. We came out of working for parei to working for the Eibishter. We never had freedom. If freedom means no obligation, no responsibility, we never had that. Not even for a single day. In fact, Moshe Rabbeinu told the people in Mitzrayim, we're going to leave Mitzrayim so that we can work for the Eibishter. That's the only reason. So what is the difference? The difference is when you're working in Mitzrayim, you are a slave to slaves, because they should also be working for the Eibishter. And we're not supposed to be slaves to slaves. We're supposed to be slaves to the Creator. Big improvement. Okay. That happened 3,300 years ago. Why are you still excited? This is so fundamental and so crucial. Ilu leheitzi HaKadosh Baruch Hu es aviseinu miMitzrayim harei onu v'neinu v'nei baneinu mishubodim hayinu leparei b'Mitzrayim. If the Eibishter didn't take us out of Mitzrayim, we would still be slaves to parei. What does that mean? Parei wasn't going to live forever. The emphasis, if you're listening with your neshama, the emphasis in the Haggadah is not that we came out of Mitzrayim, but that the Eibishter took us out of Mitzrayim. And what caused him to take us out of Mitzrayim? He decided. It was his decision. Which means he came to take us out of Mitzrayim. Not we ran to him. He came to us. We should never get over that. And that's why every day we find a reason to mention Yetzias Mitzrayim. Whether it fits, it doesn't fit. Zeichel Yetzias Mitzrayim. Everything has to do with Yetzias Mitzrayim. What does that mean? Everything in Yiddishkeit, in Torah, in life, everything goes back to the fact that the Eibishter came looking for us. That changes everything. So we're still excited that we don't have to work hard in the field. What we're excited about is that the reason we're not working in fields is because the Eibishter came to take us from Mitzrayim to Him. To Him. Come out of Mitzrayim to be mine. How do you get over that? Why should you ever get over that? So the emphasis, the point, the highlight, the excitement of the Haggadah is that when it came to take us out of Mitzrayim, He didn't send a malach, He didn't send a shliach, He came personally. Well, what does this tell you? What does this do for you? How does this affect everything in Yiddishkeit? So the Frierdiker Rebbe tells the Rebbe privately a little incident. He tells the Rebbe that when I was a child, I heard my father, Bimaver Sedra, review the Parsha on Friday only twice. Once was Parshas Lech Lecha, and once was Parshas Vayera. And hearing my father read the Parsha made me into a Baal Tshuva. This was when the Rebbe was about 11. And then he says, my father was reading the Pasuk, the Rebbe Rashab, was reading the Pasuk, Vayemer Hashem el Avram, and tears of pleasure were streaming down his face. And I could see his body dissolving into the pleasure of godliness, into the sweetness of godliness. Neimus elikus. That's the whole story. Where is this intense pleasure that could not be contained by the Rebbe Rashab, who had a very large capacity for emotion, and yet he couldn't contain the pleasure in the words Hashem spoke to Avram? What's the pleasure? Where's the sweetness? See, we get so used to reading the Torah, and we're so familiar with the words that we miss the whole point completely. Let's look at it from a very personal perspective. Avraham is your grandfather. Your grandfather, who made you Jewish. He was living in, I don't know, Iraq, someplace, minding his own business. A good business, but his own. And out of nowhere, Vayemer Hashem el Avram. The Eibishter comes to speak to Avram. How mind-boggling is that? And there are a few aspects. Number one, the Eibishter initiated this conversation. It doesn't say that Avram called on God and God answered. The Eibishter initiates this relationship. Vayemer Hashem el Avram. That itself is already intense. What does it mean in general that the Eibishter speaks to a human being? Just stop and think about that for a second. We're so used to it. Hashem, and the Eibishter said, wait a minute. What business does the Eibishter have speaking to a human being? We really have to stop and think about that. Of what value can any human being possibly be that the Eibishter has to talk to him? About what? I know he has nobody to talk to, so he's desperate. He'll talk to anybody. Whoever is willing to listen, because it's lonely at the top. You know? What does it mean that the Eibishter speaks to a human being? To any human being. And then, how does it make you feel that the Eibishter speaks to your grandfather? And he initiates it. This is awesome. And the Rebbe Rashab couldn't get over it. Tears of pleasure. So if we have a little bit of a soul, if we have a little bit of sensitivity, if we have a little bit of romance in your heart, it should make you cry. So imagine if somebody says, the Eibishter came to talk to Avram, and you say, really? What did he want? How callous can you be? What did he want? That's your reaction? It's like, Eibishter is calling, ask him what he wants. What? That's your reaction? You're missing the whole point. We are not thrilled to be free. We are not thrilled to be out of Mitzrayim. In fact, so many times we wanted to go back. Mitzrayim was not our problem. We couldn't get over the fact that the Eibishter came to us. Why would he do that? The Eibishter comes to us in Mitzrayim and says, come on, I need you. Why are you working for Pari? I need you. Shouldn't that make you cry? Or should you say, oh yeah, for what? What do you need me for? What's the difference? Did you hear what he just said? The Eibishter comes and says, I need you. You're going to say, for what? Well, I'm not sure I like this deal. Tell me more. That's why we said Nasa v'nishma. You need me? Whatever. Nasa v'nishma. And we'll never get over this. That's what Yetzias Mitzrayim is all about. That's the excitement. That's what changes everything. After that, we were never the same again. That's why we say to the Rasha, to the wicked son at the Seder, if you were there, you wouldn't have come out of Mitzrayim. So it's lucky that you were not there, you're here. You're here after Yetzias Mitzrayim. After Yetzias Mitzrayim, no Jew will be left behind. Once the Eibishter comes to get you, that's it. There's no getting away now. You can't drop out. Not after he chose you. How do we make sure that not only we are inspired by this, but that the children sitting at the Seder are inspired by this, and not by how many frogs there were in Mitzrayim, or how much noise they made, or how itchy the Egyptians were from the boils? How do we make sure kids come away from a Seder having experienced Pesach? Not a study of insects. So that should be the focus and the goal of Pesach. What does that have to do with cleaning? To fully appreciate the romance of the Eibishter coming to us and initiating a relationship. And in both cases, by the way, Yetzias Mitzrayim and the first time that the Eibishter spoke to Avram, he wasn't even Avraham. If you must know, what did he want? What did he say? That's also beautiful and romantic. What did he say? He said, "Be mine. Come to me." In the case of Avram, come to my land. In the case of the Yidden in Yetzias Mitzrayim, come into my Torah. Meet me at Har Sinai. We'll talk. So in order to fully appreciate that and absorb it into every fiber of our being, we need to get rid of chametz. Chametz blocks everything. Why is it that only the Frierdiker Rebbe was moved to become a Baal Tshuva seeing his father crying? Almost anybody else would have said, "Yeah, what's he crying about?" Where does that come from, that callous indifference? From chametz. So to fully appreciate the Eibishter's gesture and the Eibishter's request and his desire for a relationship, and I guess for any relationship, chametz gets in the way. It doesn't let you be a best friend to anybody. It doesn't allow you to appreciate the best friend that you do have. Because chametz is, I'm me. What are you doing in my life? Who needs you? I gotta be me. That's chametz. So getting rid of chametz really is making yourself sensitive to the more sensitive and the more delicate things in the world, in reality. So just let's do this quickly because it's kind of... here are the 10 Svidus. The chametz version on the left and the matzah version on the right. So for example, Malchus. God is a king. On the left side, if you have matzah, so the left side is the matzah side. On the left side, when you experience Malchus, you should be experiencing the fact that the Eibishter is our king. Which means what he wants is important, not me. The chametz version is, how do you experience Malchus? I'm the king. I feel royal. It's all me. Obviously, if in your malchus you're feeling I'm the king, so if the Eibishter comes to talk to you, it's like, yeah, what do you want? Yesod. Yesod means the ability to be romantic, to make a connection. So in the Pesach version and the Matzah version is, I need other people. I need to feel connected, to be connected. The Chametz version is, I'm connected to me. I don't need anybody else. I have myself. I have a meaningful relationship with myself. That's Chametz. Hod. Hod means putting another person before yourself. Somebody is more important. You acknowledge the importance of someone else. Like Meide Ani. What am I acknowledging? I didn't bring myself back to life. The Eibishter did, right? So in the Pesach version, the Matzah version, it's others can be more important than me. I put them first. Their problem is more important than my problem. Their hunger is more serious than my hunger, and so on. The Chametz version is, no one's good enough. I look at other people and I'm always disappointed because nobody's good enough. Netzach. Netzach means you got to do what you got to do. You got to see the project through. You got to finish what you started. You got to, what's right is right. You got to do it. So in the Matzah version, it's even when you're in trouble, I'm there for you. So when I like you, of course I'm there for you. But even when I don't like you, I'm there for you because I'm supposed to be. What is the Chametz version? If you're not perfect, then I don't care. Tiferes, which means compassion. Out of compassion, you become devoted, loyal, and helpful. But if it's Chametz, I have compassion when I'm in the mood. Not when you need me, but when I'm in the mood. So if I feel compassionate, I'll do you a favor. If not, too bad. Gvura means self-discipline. In the Matzah version is, I'm always ready to improve. I'm always open to improvement or criticism. In the Chametz version, it's everybody else needs to improve. Don't tell me that I'm not perfect when you're not perfect. So I'm not open to improvement. Chesed means being generous. The Matzah version is, I value what I have, but I want to share it with you. The Chametz version is, carelessly flittering away everything. In other words, indiscriminate kindness with no direction, no purpose, no value. Das means, in the Matzah version, I know who I am. I'm aware of myself. In the negative, in the Chametz version is, everything is my business. Which leads to jealousy, envy. Everything I see should be mine. Bina is concrete understanding and ready to nurture others. In the Chametz, it's too theoretical and not real. It's just philosophizing. In Chachma, which is a need to know, the holy version is, I have questions, I want to know more. My mind is hungry for information. In the negative, I know everything and I'm content. So you see that Chametz basically deadens all all sensitive responses. Because chametz means it's all about me. And that corrupts your chachma, your bina, your das, your chesed. Let's talk a little bit more about the Seder. It would seem that all focus of the Seder is to tell the story of what happened. In other words, to talk about the past. What does it have to do with the future? Or even with the present? So we're kind of reminiscing. Avraham's father was Terach, and he was into idol worship. Do we really need to remember all this? So it's not surprising that we find in the Haggadah mention of the future. Where do we find it? What does it mean that you should remember Yetzias Mitzrayim kol yemei chayecha? It means that even after Mashiach comes, we will still talk about Yetzias Mitzrayim. And of course, the end of Hoshana Haba b'Yerushalayim. In some sense, the Haggadah teaches us that in Yiddishkeit there is no past, present, and future. It's all the same. There's no separation, there's no break between the past, the present, and the future. In Gashmias, they're completely distinct and incompatible. Once something happens that now is the past, you can't have it anymore, it's gone. The future is not yet here. The present is very brief. That's Begashmias. In Torah, there's no distinction, because emes is emes everywhere at the same time. So Yetzias Mitzrayim, Bias HaMoshiach, it's all the same thing. It's all the same thing. We are not really out of Mitzrayim until Mashiach comes. So that's why we are coming out of Mitzrayim. We didn't once come out of Mitzrayim and it's over. And that's why it's Yemei Tzeischa Me'eretz Mitzrayim. Why the plural? We came out of Mitzrayim on one day, the 15th of Nisan. We know exactly when it happened. We know even the hour. What kind of days? We didn't come out of Mitzrayim in days. We came out of Mitzrayim in one day. The answer is, we're still coming out of Mitzrayim. Because until Mashiach comes, Yetzias Mitzrayim is not complete. So when we say Yetzias Mitzrayim, what are you talking about? The past, the future? Yes. It's timeless. For example, why don't we even know, unless you're a bit of a historian, what was the date in which Yehoshua and the Yidden arrived in Eretz Yisrael? We know they walked around Yericho 7 times and the walls fell down. When was that? Why isn't that a yontif? Why isn't the day that we came to Eretz Yisrael, why is that not a yontif? And again, the same answer. we're still coming to Eretz Yisrael. We haven't really arrived yet. Yeah, we visited there for a couple of years and got thrown out, but to come to Eretz Yisrael hasn't happened yet. It's still in the process. When we finally get there, we'll make a yontif. So Yetzias Mitzrayim is a strange kind of a yontif. We're celebrating what isn't. We're celebrating what we left behind. We left Mitzrayim. Yeah, so where are you now? Who knows? In a ghetto, in a concentration camp, in Spain, and where are we? Okay, we're not in Mitzrayim, but where are you? Until Mashiach comes, there's no answer to that question. So you say, I'm celebrating not being in Mitzrayim. But that's not a complete celebration. If you're not in Mitzrayim, where are you? You can't just live with a negative. So the Haggadah is about the past or about the future? There's one very painful question about the whole Haggadah, and I've never seen a good answer. Now maybe you've heard of a good answer. How does the Haggadah, whoever composed the Haggadah, how do they leave Moshe Rabbeinu out of the story completely? How could you possibly tell the story of Yetzias Mitzrayim without mentioning Moshe? It's not even nice. So some people say, well, we want to make sure that you know that the Eibishter took you out of Mitzrayim, not Moshe. Oh, since when is that a problem? Have you read the Torah? The Torah does not begin a single sentence without saying Moshe. Vayemer Hashem al Moshe, Vayemer Moshe. Moshe came and Moshe did. Nobody's afraid that you're going to mistake Moshe for the Eibishter. All of a sudden in the Haggadah, no, I don't want to confuse people. Not a good answer. And if you want to make it clear that the Eibishter took us out of Mitzrayim and not Moshe, so say so. But don't neglect Moshe. It's not decent. He put in a lot of work. You got to give him some mention, some credit. Have you ever heard a good answer to this?
Maybe he wrote it.
Huh?
Maybe he put it together.
He's humble.
He didn't want the job.
What about the idea that when a tzaddik says something, it has to be true in some way? Like when he used to ask Hashem to take me out of the book.
He meant the Haggadah?
Maybe.
That could be. So not only was he left out of Parshas Tetzaveh, but he was also left out of the Haggadah. That was his punishment. Well, just to make matters more confusing, Moshe is mentioned in the Haggadah. But not as the hero of Yetzias Mitzrayim, just that by Kriyas Yamsu, Vayaminu B'Hashem U'V'Moshe Avdei. So it's really a compliment to the Yidden. It's not really about Moshe. So if you really don't want to mention him, how did that happen? How did that pasuk get in there? The only possible answer that I can think of is that Moshe asked not to be mentioned. Not out of humility, but because until Mashiach comes, what is there to be proud of? So Moshe said, you're going to sit down by a Seder in a cellar someplace during the Inquisition and you're going to thank me for taking you out of Golos? What kind of joke is that? You're suffering, you're hiding in a cellar, and I'm the great liberator? That's embarrassing. Don't do that to me. When Mashiach comes, you'll thank me. But until then, don't. In other words, it's not about the past. If you're talking about the past, yes, in the past, Moshe Rabbeinu took us out of Mitzrayim. But in Torah, you can't separate the past from the present from the future. So Moshe says, you're going to sit and reminisce about what I did in Mitzrayim while you're in Golus suffering? That's not Yiddishkeit. That's not emes. So wait until Mitzrayim is really over and Yetzias Mitzrayim is done, then you can thank me. So when people say, is it really relevant to be talking about Yetzias Mitzrayim 3,000 years later? Yeah. Because we don't say Mashiach will come. I believe that Mashiach will come. That's predicting the future. He's not here. He's never been here. But he will someday be here. That's not emes. In Torah, past, present, and future are all the same. So what do we say about Mashiach? Not he's going to come. He is coming. It's an ongoing process since the beginning of creation. Because on the first day of creation, the Eibishter created a light that was too big for the world. Why? Because it was the light of Mashiach. So from the first moment, Mashiach is coming. Is coming, not he will come. Makes sense, no? It also makes a huge difference. If you say Mashiach will come, that sounds very irresponsible. Mashiach will come. Don't worry. Don't worry like means you don't have to do anything. He'll come, he'll fix everything, it'll be great. That's not a lifestyle. That's not an avodah. Ivdu es Hashem. What ivdu es Hashem? Mashiach will come, he'll fix everything. That's why when you tell people, I believe Mashiach is going to come and he's going to, it sounds like, what? You're so irresponsible? Nobody's impressed with that. But when you say Mashiach is coming, it's an ongoing process. What we do affects that process. We've made some great strides. We're getting closer. That sounds responsible. Not like a childish belief in a fairy godmother who will come and make everything good. Now, the experience of Yetzias Mitzrayim was such a powerful experience that it engraved itself on the souls of everyone who was there to such a degree that all their descendants, until the coming of Mashiach, will feel as if they were there. Because that kind of experience, that kind of emotion is so profound that it doesn't just last for 2 or 3 generations. It can last for 1,000 generations. That 1,000 generations later, we have a feeling like a déjà vu, as if we were there. So when it says, one of the 6 things that you have to remember daily is the Yetzias Mitzrayim. It's not like, remind yourself every day, tie a little string around your finger to remind you that you once came out of Mitzrayim. That's so unrealistic, it's so artificial, it's so not emes. When the Torah says, remember every day the coming out of Mitzrayim, means you have that memory. It's there in you. Like you came out of Mitzrayim. Where does that come from? Any experience that is that profound will carry over to the next generation. So then what does it mean that we were all by Har Sinai? Every neshama was at Har Sinai. What does that mean? Those neshamas that were not yet born, they were at Har Sinai. Oh, if they weren't at Har Sinai, where would they be? In Miami? What does it mean they were at Har Sinai?
In heaven.
Which means everywhere.
In the sky.
In the sky. In the sky there are aliens. What does it mean that every neshama was there? The effect on the neshama of those who were there, meaning our ancestors, the effect on their neshama is so deep that every one of their children for all time to come are affected by that experience as if they were there. So where does our emunah in Torah come from? From the people who were there. So it's not just, the Rebbe writes, no other religion was experienced by an entire nation. It was just a few people, and they may have gotten things wrong. But in Yiddishkeit, everyone was there. It's not just a matter of numbers, of how many people were there. The experience of Matan Torah was so real that everyone already has that emunah. The experience that some other religious leader may have had doesn't carry over to the next generation.
Is it inherited in the same way that we inherit the hidden love? There are things that every neshama has because it's a neshama. If you're a godly soul, you're a godly soul. But to bring it down to earth, a physical experience, like Matan Torah, was a physical experience of godliness. That's a different kind of emunah. It's not a neshama emunah. That's an experience emunah. That's experiencing the Eibishter in a body, while in a body. I don't know. But even for the Nefesh Elikis, it's not just, well, I'm godly, so I guess godly is godly. No, you had an experience of godliness. You heard and saw. It's different. For that alone, a neshama would want to come down into a body. So it's starting to make sense that we celebrate Yetzias Mitzrayim because that's who we are. Not something that happened to old people a long time ago. Yetzias Mitzrayim made us who we are. That's when our relationship with the Eibishter became real. It started with Avraham, but it became our relationship in Yetzias Mitzrayim. So why the emphasis on Yetzias Mitzrayim? On the negative. We left Mitzrayim. Why don't we say we started out to Har Sinai? Say something positive. Where are you going? So, well, we're leaving Mitzrayim. Yeah, but where are you going? Well, we're going to become Jews. We're going to receive the Torah. It's strange that we would refer to this whole thing as Yetzias Mitzrayim. That makes sense because the point of Pesach is to get rid of chametz. In order to get to the relationship, which is Har Sinai, Matan Torah, you have to get rid of something. You have to cleanse yourself of something. You have to get out of Mitzrayim. That's the first step. In order to have a relationship, in order to be married, in order to connect with another person and become one, you have to get out. Even if you have to run away. Get out. Get rid of chametz. Get free of chametz. Free of Mitzrayim. So yeah, you're not there yet, but that's a very important step. Even Kriyas Yamsuf. Why was that necessary? Why did there have to be a Yamsuf and then the Yamsuf is split and you get to go across? What's the point? You're going across. Why do you have to make the whole drama? Why did there have to be a Yam that has to be split? I like that famous joke. Why didn't the Eibishter provide a couple of boats and we went across? What's with the drama? You know the joke about the kid who went to Talmud Torah and he was told the story of Kriyas Yamsuf, and he comes home and his father says, so what did you learn today? He says, oh, the Jews were stuck by the water, so they developed these rafts and they blew them up and they were able to swim across. And the father says, really, that's what happened? He says, no, what really happened you'll never believe. Why the drama? So again, Kriyas Yamsuf is again a negative. What happened? The Yamsuf got out of the way. Because getting to Har Sinai is a process of elimination. Get rid of Mitzrayim, get rid of the Avodah Zoros, get rid of the chametz, get past the waters. Now you're ready to receive the Torah. But that's Shavuos. So, celebrate Pesach, not slavery. Slavery is over, it's done with. Not interesting. But celebrate Pesach. And if you're a teacher, teach it correctly. Don't let kids get excited about frogs. Come on. And people have a tendency to do that. You know, you notice the kids are getting excited, so you build it up. Yeah, the frogs were everywhere. Oh, they were... Don't. The kids lose focus completely on what's important and what's real and what... Which I think is one of the reasons that we don't steal the Afikomen. Because that becomes the whole focus. The kids can't pay attention to anything because they're thinking, how do I steal the Afikomen? And the whole Seder becomes meaningless. So don't introduce any foreign substances when you have something so significant to convey. And if you can do that for yourself and for others, to convey the awesome, unforgettable fact that the Eibishter came to us, and all that that implies, then you have created Yiddishkeit, not just a Seder. So what was so emotional about Vayemer Hashem el Avram? That was the first time the Eibishter spoke to a Jew. Is that not significant? This is where it all started. So if we're excited about being Jewish, if we're excited about Yiddishkeit, we're excited about who we are, when did all that begin? Vayemer Hashem el Avram. That's how it all started. It should be exciting. And then it was magnified greatly when the Eibishter came to Mitzrayim and said, "Come with me. I need you." That's very exciting. The next very exciting thing is, when you come out of Golus, the Eibishter comes out of Golus. Isn't that exciting? In other words, we're in Golus together. And somebody said, if I do this Aveda, will the Eibishter send me to Gehenna? I said, the Eibishter doesn't send you to Gehenna. He has to go with you. The Eibishter can't not be there. So if you go to Gehenna, he goes to Gehenna. That's an awesome... I say this to non-religious, non-Jews, and it freaks them out completely. God is in hell? So where is God not? Can hell exist without him? So what is it about not going to Gehenna? If you have to go, you go. What's the big deal? The big deal is he has to go with you. I tell my favorite recent joke. This 100-year-old chassid should live and be long and be well. He's joking about his age and his future. So he tells his family, not recently, he said to his family, "I had a dream. They came to me from Lamaila, and they said they need me there because they need a mashpia." And I was surprised because, there are so many great mashpiyim of the past. So I said, "You need me to be a mashpia? Where are all the great mashpiyim? There's a shortage of mashpiyim in Gan Eden?" They said, "Who's talking about Gan Eden? We need you to be a mashpia in Gehenna." And he's laughing about this. Because for a human being to go to Gehenna, what do you expect? Of course you go to Gehenna. You got to clean up. Are you going to walk into heaven without a shower? Got to take a shower. A hot shower. Okay. Very hot shower. But what, are you going to go without a shower? Can't go without a shower. So what? You don't expect to go to Gehenna? What, are you going to walk right into heaven the way you are? It's not even nice. But to drag the Eibishter into Gehenna, that's not nice.
Hashem took us out himself because Moshe being
Hmm?
the messenger? What does it mean that we see that Hashem himself took us out of Mitzrayim, but Moshe being the messenger?
Hmm. This explains another very common fundamental question. We keep thanking the Eibishter for taking us out of Mitzrayim. The obvious fundamental question is,
We're still in Galus.
huh?
We're still. Oh, he didn't take us out. Or we're still in Galus.
The question is, thank you very much for taking me out of Mitzrayim. Who put me there?
Yeah. Look at that stuff.
Hmm?
It's like that for everything. Every time something good happens, you're like,
That's right.
no.
Baruch Hashem, I came out of the accident alive. How does this make sense?
It doesn't.
Recently, we have a very good analogy for it. When a soldier comes back from Afghanistan, it's such a emotional, wonderful celebration. Everybody is so thrilled that he came back. Well, who sent him? So imagine a king, a good king, sends his army to war. And when they come back, he makes a celebration, and he greets them, and they're wonderful. And wait. If you are really so happy to have them back, why'd you send them in the first place? Sounds like a contradiction.
Why? There was a need. They were needed to go do something.
Oh, okay.
There's a huge difference. When the king sends the army into war, this is not what he wants, this is not what he likes, this is not his pleasure. It's just necessary. But when he brings them back, is that only because it's necessary? Or it's because this he really wants? So the Eibishter sent us into Mitzrayim because he wanted to. It was a strategic, necessary step in elevating the world, in fulfilling the whole purpose of creation. Because there are 288 sparks that have to be redeemed. You know about this? 288 sparks. 210 of them were redeemed in Mitzrayim. That's a big chunk. I don't know why the rest is taking so long. But whatever it is, Golus Mitzrayim was a painfully necessary thing to the Eibishter. But Yetzias Mitzrayim, that was personal. That's what it means that he personally took us out of Mitzrayim. Whether he sent Moshe or he sent the Malach HaMavis to kill the firstborn, that's not the point. That's how he did it. The question is, what was he feeling? What was he thinking? What was he experiencing? This was his personal choice. Sending people into Mitzrayim, that was just necessary. So the same is true with everything. When something painful, God forbid, has to happen, that's not what he enjoys, that's not what he likes, that's not what he prefers. That's not personal. That's just necessary. But when it can end, that he does personally. Because that's what he wants. That's what he loves. So it is appropriate to celebrate Yetzias Mitzrayim. Because this is where the Eibishter expresses what he really wants and feels about us.
The fact that we went down to Mitzrayim, that doesn't prove anything. So all the excitement about bring the troops home, not because they shouldn't be at war where they are, sure they should be there, but we don't like it. When they can come home, that we like. So, any further questions about
If you're taken out of Mitzrayim,
cleaning the dust? What?
if you're taken out of Mitzrayim, does that mean that somebody can take your chametz out for you? Like, taken out of Mitzrayim, like, seems like it skipped a step. So you have to eliminate. I don't know.
The first time, like with everything, the first time we get it for free. And that enables us to now do it. Like Rosh Hashanah. The first Rosh Hashanah, nobody blew a shofar. The Eibishter created the world. From now on, if you want me to create the world, blow a shofar. But the first time has to come from above. So the first time was the Eibishter took us out. And is still taking us out. But now we have the free, the bechira and the ability to take ourselves out, to get rid of our own chametz.
Taking out of Mitzrayim, does that represent, that first time, does that represent taking you out of your own Mitzrayim, or did that represent something,
Yeah,
taking you out
yeah.
of the evil of the world?
It's always your own.
You know?
There's a story of a famous chassid who they brought him a piece of matzah, Erev Pesach, from the Rebbe. And he was like very preoccupied with his avodah of getting rid of the chametz, that absent-mindedly he ate the matzah. Which of course he was supposed to save for the Seder. But then when it came to the Seder, he was looking for the matzah. Where's the Rebbe's matzah? And they told him, I think you ate it. He said, oh, that's why my search for chametz was so successful. He was surprised that working on getting rid of his chametz was all of a sudden, it's like he got rid of it. And he knew that this was not him. He's not that holy that he can get rid of chametz that easily. So he realized, oh, so it was the matzah that did it. It was like Yitzias Mitzrayim, the Eibishter took me out. Oh, now I got to do it all over again on my own steam, without help from above, with the Rebbe's matzah. So there was another famous chassid who the Alter Rebbe took away his Yetzer Hara. And he became a very inspired, holy man. And chassidim would tell their children, he's not a good role model. He's a very holy man, but that's not a role model, because that's not how you work on your Yetzer Hara. You get a Rebbe to take it away. That's Yitzias Mitzrayim the first time. It's done for you, but that's not a chassid. Chassid does the work himself.
So Pesach is when you actually are free. All the process of elimination is what we're doing before Pesach, and Seder night you're actually free.
Ideally, yes. You can actually celebrate your freedom.
But not really, because we're in Galus. So you don't really...
But you're free of your chametz.
Until when?
Till the next morning. When you wake up late. That's why somebody asked, a Rebbe asked his father after Yom Kippur, okay, so now what? His father said, now we got to do tshuva.
So we should shouldn't be so eager to eat chametz after?
Actually, we should. The whole point of Pesach is that you become immune to the chametz so that you can start eating it again and elevate it rather than have it drag you down. Which is what Sfiras HaOmer is all about.
Right, so what does that represent in our inner chametz?
That your self-awareness or your pride or whatever should work for you, not to enslave you.
So in the mashal of cleaning out the cabinets, where you take everything and you put it back in, we're taking out all of our spheres.
You're just putting back the dishes, you're not putting back the chametz. In Sfiras HaOmer, you bring back your pride, but without the chametz.
So what's the step before that when we're cleaning for Pesach? In trying to take your sphera of malchus and make it like matzah, not like chametz.
That's during Svira, not...
This applies more to sphera?
Yeah. Pesach, you get rid of all chametz without distinction. You don't... There's no room for any self.
Spheres are chametz?
No. The Svira is a particular chametz. The chametz of Malchus, the chametz of this. In Pesach, there's no distinction. All chametz has to go. When you're bringing it back, you bring it back step by step. First in Malchus, then...
So on the first night of Pesach, what do you look like? Do you look like matzah? Or this happens during...
Yeah, you complete matzah.
So all your spheres are back. Why? You have them and they're like matzah.
Is it like only the nefesh elokis without the nefesh elhamas because you can't handle that, and then later on you're able to use the nefesh elhamas for the nefesh elokis because you can handle it?
Like the whole idea of Avodas Hashem. I want to serve you. How can I serve you? Excuse me, who are you? You want to serve me? What kind of chutzpah is that? What kind of gaiva is, what kind of chametz is that? You're going to serve me? So before you can do that, there first has to be no me. There is no me. The next step is, okay, so now can I serve you? So first you have to be a non-being. Then you can be a holy being. But until you get rid of all chametz, you can't say, I'm going to serve you. You're serving yourself. So when can I become loyal to you? First, I have to stop being me. That's the whole idea of bittul. Bittul comes first. Then you can do an avodah. But without the bittul, it's not avodah. You're just doing what you want. So, getting comfortable with the idea, it is not about me at all. That's Pesach. We're so overwhelmed or impressed or moved by his coming to us that we just, nothing. No chametz. Maybe that's why the Eibishter has to give us a Seder. Because we would do nothing. We're nothing. So Eibishter said, okay, just follow the steps, dip this and that, make the bracha, sit up straight. You have to tell us everything because
Just like anything in like physical reality in terms of like having yeast makes you more arrogant. Like I'm saying, does this like connect anywhere with that? It's completely like spiritual dimension.
that's probably true in Gashmias too. If you want to talk about health,
Like people who are gluten free feel very spiritual and healthy.
I don't know about spiritual, but
Matzah is gluten, everybody.
That's true.
but one of the most basic considerations in health is the balance between acidic and
Alkaline.
alkaline. If you're alkaline, you don't get sick. If you're acidic, all sorts of things can happen. So what does acidic means? Fermented. Chametz. So why do we ever eat bread? When you're balanced, when you're healthy, you can do the bread a favor and elevate it. It won't harm you.
Also like the bitter greens in the spring, like somehow it just sounds like a good health plan.
That's why on Shavuos, part of the carbon was dafke chametz. Because if by Shavuos you still can't eat chametz, you're not getting anywhere.
So on Seder night, everybody, regardless of their avodah, gets to that place.
It's available to them. So as far as heaven is concerned, you're welcome to experience Yitzias Mitzrayim and the bittul of it and so on. If you don't want, well, nobody's going to force you. But it's there. It's available. Like on Yom Kippur, tshuva is available. It's much easier to do tshuva on Yom Kippur than any other day of the year. If you don't want to, well, nobody's going to force you. So it's like strange. On Pesach, you are free to be free. You don't want to be free? Okay. Then they got to pierce your ear. For our generation, Pesach is probably the most important yontif. Because we are suffering terribly from chametz. Narcissism. I mean, it's the ultimate chametz. Like this guy who stopped being frum, and they asked him why. He said, because I have doubts. That's why? Yeah? I'm not sure. Oh, so if you're not sure, then that's it. It's all over. Do you hear how arrogant that is? And this is a 14-year-old. This is not arrogant, this is a sickness. If it doesn't make sense to me, I can't do it. You're 14. Nothing makes sense to you. You don't have any sense. Nope. Doesn't make sense to me. It's really, I mean, it's not funny. It's very sad. What do you say about the 10 makis? Isn't there a bit too much attention on that? 10 makis, and you spill a little in for every makah. Do we really have to revel in that? And why were there 10 makis? Just to torture people? Bring the 10th one, you know it's going to work. Cut to the chase and let's get out of here. Why 10 makis? And it's not like the Eibishter didn't know. He told Moshe, it's not going to help. So what's the point? And that's also something you have to be careful when you're teaching kids. Not to get so excited about the makis. Yeah, we beat them and we tortured them and we got them. And come on, what is that? That's like the excitement of the violence in the cartoons. Sure, it's funny, but it's violent. It's not a good thing. The purpose of the makis was not to make Egyptians suffer. The purpose was to elevate the Egyptians so that they start to recognize emes. What does it take? One big makkah that brings them to their knees? That doesn't change them. That just crushes them. The miracle that happened as a result of the 10 makis is that at the end, Pari said, Hashem HaTzadik. You're right. The Eibishter is right. You have to go out. That's what was accomplished. That took 10 steps. Malchus, you say, you got to work your way up until you get to the Chachma. So each makkah took away a level or a layer of unholiness that was what made Mitzrayim so evil. And it did happen gradually. At one point, after which makkah, the Egyptians said to Pari, this is Etzba Elikim. Maybe we should let them go. But nah. So already it was getting better, step by step. Until finally Pari said, yes, the Eibishter is right. That was the purpose of the makos. Not just to torture and to have fun at people's expense, which is the way children see it. We have to correct that. And it's not some mysterious, mystical, Hasidic interpretation. It says in the Torah, the Eibishter says to Moshe, I will harden his heart so that he will know who Hashem is. Right there. Says it clearly. So the Berditchever said that what the Shofar on Rosh Hashanah may not have accomplished, we accomplish by cleaning for Pesach. The rubbing, the scrubbing, the washing, the kashering has the same effect as the various sounds of the Shofar. Because even the attempt at getting rid of chametz is already such a humble thing to do. So even the process is bittul.
We don't do the cleaning. Just go away for Pesach. So we're missing.
Well, going away is also escaping from Mitzrayim. Not quite as thorough. So even if you are going away, there should be some cleaning. And just in defense of those who have their Pesach house or their Pesach kitchen and just close up the other kitchen, as we're getting closer to Mashiach, it is easier. We're wallowing in the worst kind of chametz, but Yitzias HaChametz is easier. If you make up your mind you don't want it, you get rid of your chametz. Easier than in the past, because there have been so many Pesachs. We've peeled away so many levels. So certainly when Mashiach comes, we're not going to have to kratz and wash, and either somebody else will do it for us, or it'll be quick and easy and painless. So we are getting somewhere.
Coming of Mashiach is not going to be like Yetzias Mitzrayim, where Hashem comes and takes us out. We leave on our own.
So why do we need Mashiach? We can leave Mitzrayim, but to where? So we can leave Golus, but then what? Then we'll sit and learn with Mashiach what we missed and what we didn't understand in the Torah until now. So the coming of Mashiach will be Pesach and Shavuos and Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. It'll be all wrapped into one experience. So, got to get back to the cleaning? Or it hasn't started yet? You're probably finished already. No?
I feel so guilty. Just this year we're going away. Every year I don't go away. This year I'm going away. So I feel guilty now.
No, it means Mashiach is coming.
I'm still cleaning, of course.
Mm.
It seems like what we have to do is more Sor Merah than Asay Taif.
That's Pesach.
That's Pesach.
Get out, get away, get through.
Sounds like that's what's needed for Mashiach to come.
Yeah.
What, that it's more staying away from bad than doing good to bring
It's-
Mashiach? That's what you're saying?
That's what it seems like, because it's like the process of eliminating the negative, the I, the chametz, but the doing with Sayim, doing is what's going to bring Mashiach. So is that process of elimination when you
Yeah.
do Sayim?
Yeah. You do Mivtzayim and you get somebody to do a mitzvah, you've gotten rid of a big chunk of chametz.
When
A
he
big
does,
resistance.
So you get rid of his sense of self.
His yeah. That's the Ad Mosai.
It's very different than sitting in your home doing mitzvahs, and you enjoy your mitzvahs. You're going out.
Yeah, but
To eliminate
the
resistance.
problem is that you could bring about a lot of Yeshus doing that.
Yitzhahara is very smart. But Ad Mosai means enough of this. Doesn't tell you what you want instead. You just say, this I don't want. It's a process of elimination.
it's just going to be a different experience once Mashiach comes.
It'll be the real thing.
Not just to get rid of our
That's like why we wash our hands 3 times. Not everybody does that. Most people wash their hands twice.
What other Hasidim? Really?
Also Negelwasser 8 times. It was 6.
I think Negelwasser they do 3 times. But for bread, they only do twice, I think. What is the difference between twice and 3 times? Why twice? Why not just once? Because the first time, you're washing away the tumah. But the water which washed away the tumah has now itself become a little bit. So you want to wash away the water that came in contact with the tumah. So twice is perfect. What's the third time for? The third time is to bring holiness. So the first 2 are a process of elimination. The third one is positive. Like the Kohen Gadol going to a mikveh. What does he have to go to a mikveh for? 10 times. Okay, 1 time. But 10 times the same day? Obviously, it's not to wash away tumah. It's to add holiness. So the third time is pure kedusha, not cleaning the tumah. So the third time is like a Mashiach dik. The first 2 is golus. You want to wash away the golus, and you want to wash away the memory of the golus. And what comes after that? Well, after that, Mashiach.
What about the extra washing in the Seder? Is it connected to that?
I don't know how to explain this, but why do we wash without the bracha?
Because when you eat a wet fruit or vegetable, you have to wash your hands first.
Yeah, but why is there no bracha?
Why don't we always do that?
Aren't we supposed to?
Yes. We do. We're very careful. If you have a wet fruit, you don't touch it. How come others don't do that? The reason that you wash for the vegetable is so that the kids will ask, how come we're washing? Which means they're not used to this.
You do it for the kids to us? That's the reason you do it, for the kids to us? Or we do it because that's the halacha?
No, it says that you do it because to make the kids curious. Obviously, that's in the places where they don't usually wash because of the wet.
Is there a reason we alternate by nagelwasser and by bread we could do straight? I'm just because I'm washing my kid's hands and it's really hard. The 1, 2, 3, he like throws a fit by the time I finish the first one, so I just do 3 on one and 3 on the other one. He's very little.
Doesn't like water.
He's stubborn. Doesn't like to when you do like make him do something like he's ruining himself. He's 2.
Well, 2. What do you expect from a 2-year-old? It's a good thing. This terrible chutzpah of it doesn't make sense to me. I don't know why we have to do this, so I'm not doing it. it is so ironic that dafke in our generation, when the scientists, the secular world, has discovered that we know so little. Like, we know almost nothing, even about Gashmias. And at this time, we can become so arrogant as to think we know everything about the Eibishter. It's such a contradiction. But the truth is that in the secular world, it has become very obvious that we know nothing. Every time a new discovery is made, it adds more questions, not answers. So in some way, the world is becoming more humble. Like, what the bleep do we know? It's a popular book. And all the scientists, the real scientists, all they talk about is how one mystery after another, and how we can't explain this and we can't explain that. And when it comes to halacha and even minhagim, we have no idea what we're playing with. These things are so awesome. And I think that Tzemach Tzedek said that if I try to explain why you don't polish your shoes before going on a trip, I would have to fill a book the size of the Shalah. What do we know? So don't play with these things. Like even Mayim Achreinim. The Gemara says that not washing Mayim Achreinim is a sakana. It said the sakana is because of the salt from Sodom. Okay, if you don't use the salt from Sodom, there's no sakana? If there's a sakana, it's a sakana. Sometimes it's the salt. Sometimes it's the point is that you don't bench without mayim. I mean, the men don't bench without mayim achreinim. You're playing with a sakana. Yeah, what's a sakana? The fact that you don't know doesn't prove anything. So I tell you this personal experience. I was trimming my nails with a nail clipper, Shabbos afternoon, years ago. A big, heavy-duty nail clipper, not the little flimsy ones. And as I was doing it, I was thinking, you're not allowed to clip your nails after
On
Friday, Erev Shabbos.
Are they supposed to?
Yeah, that's it too.
Early in the day, but not afternoon, close to Shabbos. Why? Because if you're in the middle of cutting your nails and it becomes Shabbos and the thing breaks, the clipper, the scissor, whatever you're using, breaks, you're going to leave half a nail, so you're going to be tempted to fix even on Shabbos. So I was thinking this, and I was thinking, in the olden days, I don't know what kind of nail clippers they had then that break. There's a nail clipper break. Huh?
You break, not the nail clipper.
As I was thinking this, the little pin that holds it broke. The metal, heavy-duty little thing there, so the Eibishter was actually saying, don't be a chacham. Don't mess with these things. That's bittul. Yeah, I know what it is, but it's not going to happen. I don't use the salt from Sdaim, so don't worry about it. Don't chametz it up. By the way, covering the hair of married women, the effect that has on children, we don't begin to understand. One of the Rabbeim said, I think it was one of the Rabbeim said, that in the time when Jews were being drafted into the army in Russia, women who covered their hair, their sons were not drafted. What's one got to do with the other? If you cover your hair, your children will grow up tznius, because you're being tznius. What's it to being drafted to the army? What do we know? So we can't just play games with these things. These are awesome. We should have a very pleasant Pesach. With your fingers rubbed raw and the maror bringing you to tears. Actually, it hasn't happened lately. Have you noticed?
That the maror hasn't been strong?
Yeah. What happened to the maror? Can't even get any decent maror anymore. Remember when you had to wear a gas mask just from rubbing it?
Maybe we changed.
Oh, we're immune.
No, that's the evaluated that you have to eat a much bigger amount of vegetables to get the amount of vitamins that a vegetable had 10 years ago. It's bad, unfortunately. That's true.
The maror is just not maror anymore. So either that's bad, or you see we're getting closer to Mashiach. The maror doesn't have to be so bitter.
We've got plenty of bitterness around us.
That's right. The truth is, how is lettuce? How is that maror? Because the root is bitter. And that's good enough.
We don't even eat the root.
Exactly. We're eating the leaf of a bitter, and that's good enough. So who says you have to cry from the bitterness?
What's the bitterness? What does
We
it
are-
represent? Bitterness.
How bitter the Golus is.
So I was wondering if it's representing Hashem's bitterness of when we were in the time.
It's one and the same.
One and the same.
Our bitterness is his. A freilichen Pesach, a kosher Pesach, a gesunden Pesach.